Look around your space right now. There is a guitar in the corner, a half-coded website you haven't opened in 3 weeks, a set of baking tools still in the packaging, and somewhere in your browser history, a jiu-jitsu gym you looked up at 2 a.m. and never called. You know exactly what that room feels like. Not like a workspace, like a graveyard. A graveyard of half-finished projects, abandoned obsessions, beautiful beginnings that never became anything. And the feeling that comes with it, that specific, quiet, persistent shame, is one of the loneliest feelings a person can carry. Because nobody talks about it. They just hand you a word for it. Dilettante. Scattered. Unfocused. And you took that word and you used it to beat yourself up every single day. But before you do it one more time, I need you to hear something. You were never scattered. You were building something. You just didn't have the name for the shape yet. Stay with me.
You probably know this phrase. A jack of all trades is a master of none, and you have been using it like a weapon against yourself. But you have been quoting it wrong. The full quote, the original quote, reads, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one." Read that again. Better than a master of one. That second half was not an accident. It was not a consolation prize. It was the entire point. The point that got quietly, conveniently removed by a century of industrial thinking that needed you to pick one lane, stay in it, and be productive inside someone else's system. The lie was not that specialization has value. The lie was that specialization is the only path to value. And you, your brain, your restless, reaching, insatiably curious brain, never believed that lie completely. Which is why you kept drifting. Which is why you kept
starting new things. Which is why the graveyard kept growing. Not because you were broken, because something in you knew, instinctively, before you had the research to prove it, that the world you were being trained for was not the world you were actually going to live in. For the last century, the world rewarded one type of person, the I-shaped person. One skill, one domain, one hole dug a mile deep. And in what researchers call a kind learning environment, an environment where the rules are stable, feedback is immediate, and patterns repeat, this works perfectly. Think of golf. The rules never change. The swing mechanics never change. Practice your swing for 10,000 hours and you will be rewarded for it. Specialization is a direct and reliable path to excellence. But you do not live on a golf course. You live in what David Epstein, in his landmark book Range, calls a wicked learning environment. An environment where the rules change constantly, where the problems are novel, where the solution that worked last year is obsolete this year, where the very definition of valuable skill shifts faster than any single specialization can adapt. And your brain, your apparently chaotic, apparently undisciplined, apparently unfocused brain, felt this coming before anyone told it to. The drifting was not a failure of commitment. It was intelligence. Your nervous system was reading the environment correctly and refusing to put all of its energy into a single pathway that the environment kept signaling was unstable. That is not chaos. That is adaptation. Here is where the psychology gets extraordinary. There is a concept researchers call far transfer. Specialists use near transfer. They solve problems they have seen before, using the same tools in the same domain. The surgeon gets better at one procedure and transfers that skill to a similar one. Effective, reliable, limited. Far transfer is something else entirely. Far transfer is the ability to take a principle from one completely unrelated field and apply it to solve a problem in a completely different domain. And it only happens in minds that have genuinely lived across multiple fields. Let me show you what it looks like in practice. Think about a web developer who used to be a beekeeper and a farmer. On paper, those things have nothing to do with coding, but that agricultural experience gives them something no purely technical education ever could. They understand organic systems, growth cycles, the way complex living networks self-organize, collapse, recover, and
scale. They understand what happens when you over-optimize one part of a system at the expense of the whole. When they sit down to architect software, they are not just writing code, they are cultivating an ecosystem. That is FAR transfer. That is innovation. And here's what makes this matter for you personally. You feel like an imposter because you are not the best at any one thing, but you are failing to see that your value is not in your depth. It is in your synthesis. The beekeeper developer is not competing with pure developers on depth. They are doing something pure developers literally cannot do. They are connecting worlds that others cannot even see. You were built to be the bridge between worlds that others cannot even see.
But I want to pause here, because understanding that your curiosity is a superpower is a genuine relief. And it is also not enough. Because the intellectual reframe does not touch the specific, visceral 3 a.m. pain of watching people your age become senior vice presidents and lead engineers and published authors, while you feel like you are still standing at the starting line, still switching tracks, still explaining to people at dinner parties what you actually do, and watching their eyes glaze over because the answer doesn't fit into a single clean sentence. That pain is real. It is not a cognitive distortion. It is not imposter syndrome lying to you. It is the genuine cost of living a nonlinear life in a world that still measures progress on a straight line. And I am not going to minimize it. What I am going to tell you is this. You are not behind. You are building something that does not show its value on the same timeline as a straight line career. The M-shaped life looks like nothing. And then it looks like everything. All at once. When the peaks connect. The problem is not that you are behind. The problem is that you have been trying to build all the peaks simultaneously. And that is the one mistake that will undo everything. Let me show you the geometry of what you are actually building. The world taught you to be I-shaped. One deep vertical, maximum depth, single domain. Then the modern workplace introduced the T-shape, one deep vertical with a broad base of general knowledge across multiple areas, a specialist who can communicate across departments. Better, but still anchored to one primary peak. Then came the pie shape. Two genuine depths, two real areas of mastery connected by a broad base. The engineer who is also a skilled writer. The scientist who is also a gifted communicator. Powerful, rare. But still, two peaks. You are not any of these. You are not any of these. You are M-shaped. An M-shaped person has multiple pillars of genuine depth, connected by a bridge of curiosity that most people simply do not have. Not surface knowledge, not dabbling. Real peaks, real mastery, real depth, built across multiple domains over the full span of a curious, restless, supposedly scattered life. And the valleys between those peaks, the intersections, the spaces where your domains touch and overlap and collide, that is where FAR transfer lives. That is where innovation happens. That is where you do the things that specialists, by definition, structurally, permanently, cannot do. But here is the trap that destroys most M-shaped people before they ever realize what they are building. You cannot build all the peaks at the same time. If you try to learn data science, write a novel, and launch a business in the same month, you will not build 3 peaks. You will build nothing. You will burn out. And you will add 3 more projects to the graveyard and use them to confirm the story that you are the problem. You are not the problem. Your sequencing is.
The people who successfully navigate the M-shaped life, the true polymaths, the genuine Renaissance people, the ones who eventually connect everything into something extraordinary, all practice the same discipline. They call it serial mastery, and it is the only sustainable way to build multiple peaks without destroying yourself in the process. Serial mastery means this. You do not pursue all your interests simultaneously. You pursue them sequentially, one season at a time. You give a full season of your life, your real attention, your deep focus, your genuine effort to one domain. You build a real peak. You achieve real competence, real depth. And then, when that season is complete, you move. You carry everything you built with you, and you begin building the next peak. Not abandoning the first, not starting over, building on top of everything you already are. Let me tell you about a man who figured this out at 53. For his entire adult life, he could not choose between art and programming. Every career counselor told him to pick one. He tried. He kept drifting back. Until one day, he stopped trying to choose and started trying to sequence. He let programming be the peak that paid the bills. 30 hours a week, no more. He turned down high-demand team lead positions that would have paid significantly more to protect what he called his psychic energy. On nights and weekends, music, philosophy, game design. Not merged, not simultaneous, sequential, protected, intentional. And then, over years, not months, they merged on their own into video game projects that were unlike anything either a pure programmer or a pure artist could have created. The M-shape had been building the entire time. He just needed to stop trying to build all of it at once. That is serial mastery. That is the geometry of the M-shape.
There is one final thing you need to understand about yourself, and it comes not from psychology, but from evolutionary biology. In nature, there is a principle called redundancy. Redundancy is not waste. Redundancy is survival architecture. Researchers studying what is known as Peto's paradox discovered something remarkable about elephants. Elephants almost never get cancer. Not because they have better cancer-fighting genes than smaller animals, because they have more copies of them. Massive genetic redundancy, multiple pathways for achieving the same protective outcome. If one mechanism fails, another takes over. If one system is compromised, 3 others compensate. The redundancy is the resilience. Now, look at your graveyard. The electrical wiring you learned, the HVAC systems you understood, the yoga practice, the heavy lifting, the DJing, the baking, the coding, the jiu-jitsu you haven't started yet but will.
To a specialist, that is waste. To evolution, that is exactly what survival looks like. The specialist software engineer whose entire value lives in one domain watches AI arrive and feels genuine terror. Because if that single pathway is disrupted, there is no backup, no redundancy, no pivot that does not require starting entirely from scratch. You, with your apparently chaotic, apparently wasted, apparently unserious collection of half-developed skills, are an elephant. Multiple pathways, multiple domains, multiple ways of generating value, solving problems, contributing to the world. No single disruption can take all of that from you simultaneously. You have not been wasting your time dabbling. You have been engaging in strategic adaptability. You have been building a safety net of skills that ensures that no matter what happens to the economy or technology or the job market, you have a pivot ready. Your many interests are not a bug. They are the feature.
Look at that room again. The guitar in the corner, the half-coded website, the baking tools, the jiu-jitsu gym you still haven't called. Those are not failures. Those are not evidence of your inability to commit. Those were semesters in the university of your own making. Every single one of them was teaching you something, building something, adding a data point to a cognitive map that no specialist will ever have access to. You were not meant to finish all of them at the same time. You were meant to move through them, season by season, peak by peak, until the day they connect. And they will connect. They always do. For the people who stop apologizing for the way their mind works and start building deliberately inside it. You were never meant to be just one thing. You were never meant to pick one lane and stay in it. You were built to be the bridge between worlds that others can't even see. The M-shaped future is not coming. It is already here. And you, with your graveyard that was never a graveyard, were always built for it. Tell me in the comments, what is sitting in your graveyard of half-finished projects right now? Because it was never a failure. It was a semester. And I want to know what you were studying. If this video found you at the right moment, share it with someone whose graveyard looks like yours. They need to hear this too.